The Grave Robber, Episode 6 of Season 4 of Tales from the Dark Side. Another one dealing with ancient Egypt. And it starts with, guess who? A grave robber by the name of Harold Gormley. What a ghastly name. And his girlfriend, Eileen. And they are breaking into an Egyptian tomb that is filled with treasure. And they have an Arab man by the name of Ahmed who's got them into this secret tomb. And he's definitely going to live a long time in this episode. So they get into the tomb. And they find a mummy with a necklace around him. And both Eileen and Harold warn Ahmed not to take that treasure, as they're gonna break open the rest of this tomb and find all the other amazing treasures. They gotta read some hieroglyphics, and I'm not really sure what they're doing. I don't think they know what they're doing either. But Ahmed tries to take this necklace off the mummy, and what do you know? Tales from the Dark Side. He comes alive, he instantly kills him, he strangles him, and whew, this is gonna be a scary episode. Actually, this is a comic episode, so it almost leads you to believe this is going to be a serious episode. Up until this point, there's not really an indication it's going to be a funny one. But this mummy acts like a jackass. His name is Tapok. He's played by Arnold Stang, who was Ray in the movie It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. And was also in the 1955 movie The Man with not the golden gun, with a golden arm. Haven't seen that one. And his performance is something. I actually kind of like it. He starts off saying he's going to kill this couple, but then begins to act quite goofy. It oscillates between being really dumb and really smart, but mostly he's dumb. Eileen is really only out for herself and has a few tricks up her sleeve. She begins to tell jokes to the mummy to prolong her life, since not many people come into this tomb, so while he has to protect the tomb and kill anyone who enters it, he also gets super bored and might want to hear some funny jokes and do some arm wrestling and maybe play a little bit of poker. So she strings him along. And obviously wears the pants in the relationship, since she tells Harold to arm wrestle the mummy. You can imagine how that goes. And also fight the mummy. I wish they actually did put a fight scene in here. The mummy just ends up hitting Harold and he flies across the room. It would have been funny to see them at least wrestle. This episode has gotten ridiculous at this point.
We've got to play for something.
Oh, yes, the stakes.
He wins, you let us go.
As keeper of the tomb, I must destroy all intruders.
Tapok is scratching his head in a high-pitched voice, and they settle on a game of strip poker, with the stakes continually being raised. But maybe the mummy, Tapok, isn't as stupid as he looks, or sounds, or acts, since Eileen is able to make up rules to the strip poker game. She'll tell him things like 110 beats 3 10s. She'll lie when he says he has a flush. And while this episode is entertaining and enjoyable, it's nonsensical. Trying to figure out if Tapok is just an idiot or if he actually knows this and is gaming them the entire time is impossible to figure out. Once he starts losing the strip poker game, he begins to take off his bandages. So their theory is they get him to remove enough bandages, he finally just, I guess, evaporates. Not a bad strategy. But this doesn't work as he begins to have a winning streak. And while Eileen was able to trick him in the beginning and tell him that, oh, that's a flush, but it's like a flush in hearts, that doesn't count. Somehow this stops working. I'm not really sure why. He takes some trip in his mind through Las Vegas and I guess learns how to play poker. I wish they could thought of another reason for why exactly his bandages coming off doesn't work. Maybe they could just have the bandages come off and then they realize this actually is not what gives him his power. But he mentions the bandages are what gives him his power. So why he loses, then ends up winning, I don't exactly know. Though we do learn at the end he was cheating. But then why would he let them win in the beginning? Is he just leading them on? You would think in an episode this stupid, there wouldn't be so many plot holes. This episode is dumb. It's about playing strip poker with a mummy and I can't follow it. So he begins taking the clothes of Dr. Harold. And now, who is being stripped is not the mummy, but is actually Harold himself. He's down to basically no clothes. And they make one final bet. Harold is really confident about his hand. If Harold loses, he has to stay in this tomb for the rest of his life, and he becomes the mummy guardian. And if Harold wins, him and Eileen get to leave the tomb using this amulet. And Harold is confident he has a flush. There's almost nothing that could beat a flush. What could possibly beat a flush? Well, a royal flush, which is exactly what the mummy has. He has a royal flush and he kicks his ass. And then we learn at the end that he was palming the cards the entire time. So, I guess he knew how to play poker, but it seems like at the beginning he was really dumb and losing all the games. Was he just messing with them? I don't know. There's kind of a creepy thing where Eileen ends up smoozing up to the mummy, who now has his bandages off but still looks, you could say. You would think his bandages would come off and he would turn into like a regular person. That's what I was expecting. No. So she's gonna marry this mummy and be with him. Well, she's probably just gonna use him to get out of this tomb and then run away. This episode is a bit enjoyable. It's one of the comic episodes that works better, since there are some funny moments. When Eileen's messing with the mummy and having him arm wrestle her boyfriend, she should have kept doing that and just messing with him more and more. That idea of playing strip poker with a mummy is a little funny, because what happens if he loses? He just dies, I guess. So I think I'm going to give Grave Robber a 5. It's not an average episode in that it's one that's forgettable. It's actually quite memorable. Like, this is a really off-kilter, bizarre episode that I will remember. But there's enough flaws that give it more than a 5, I think, is not doing the other episodes justice. Eileen was played by Polly Draper, who was not only an actress, but actually a writer. She wrote 85 episodes of the TV series 30-something, and even more recently, she was involved in the Naked Brothers Band, a kid show on Nickelodeon where she wrote 38 episodes. So she's still alive and kicking. Let's see if we can find a negative review. Oh, look, I found one. 2 out of 10. Wow. This is pretty much bottom of the barrel for this show. Playing strip poker with a mummy? Question mark. Give me a break. It's just so cheesy beyond words. You have to remind yourself at times that you are actually watching a real TV episode and not just having a fever dream from the night before. Bad. Yeah, a lot of people hated this one because it is overly cheesy. I'll give them points for originality and for not being boring. That's like my threshold. Like, if you're not super boring. This guy gave it a good review. Likable comic episode. Director Jeff Shiro keeps the enjoyable story moving along at a zippy pace. He certainly does. Maintains an amiable, lighthearted tone throughout, and milks plenty of laughs from the amusing scene of cheerfully goofy humor. The witty script by Jacobs and Donald Woolner boasts lots of side-splitting, snappy lines. This guy really likes writing. With the last one from the Mummy rating as a total doozy. What? With the last one from the Mummy rating as a total doozy when they leave? The crisp cinematography by Stephen Ross makes the most out of the cramped tomb setting, an absolute hoot. Yeah, this does take place in one room, though they have a hallway leading up into the tomb, so if you can count 2 areas. Would also like to see like more treasure, like show me the treasure this tomb has. Give a little more history about it, but playing strip poker, what do you expect? What do you think this is? An amazing movie like The Mummy with Brendan Fraser? No, it's not as good as that one. And there's no Rachel Weisz. Next up, David Odell is back to entertain us again with a episode he directed, The Yattering and Jack, where we see a tiny little demon annoy a guy, written by Mr. Hellraiser himself, Clive Barker. Check that one out. And also check out our playlists for all episodes of Tales from the Dark Side. We're almost finished in the entire series. Crazy. Monsters, we finished. Fear Itself, Black Mirror, Cowboy Bebop, Pet Shop of Horrors, Mystery Science Theater 3000. All in order. Thanks a lot.